Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Women. On this show, you will learn how to create wealth through real estate the blissful way. That means with very little stress and very little time. We talk about strategies, mindset, heart set, money smarts, resources, and so much more to ensure you're able to create the success you most deeply desire. Now, here's your host, Monica Sawyer.
Hi everybody! Today I am so excited to introduce you to our guest, John Cipres. John worked for over 16 years as a field customer service technician for Cipres Energy Gas Company. He left in 1997 to pursue his dream of owning and operating a business of his own. John is a certified property inspector, licensed General B contractor, and holds a C36 plumbing license. He is a leading expert in his field, and his clients include real estate brokers, investors, property management companies, homeowners, as well as commercial companies, i.e. Amtrak, LA Sports Arena, JPL and US Tile, CP, Kelco, just to name a few. John is also a certified life and business coach. He enjoys traveling in his spare time, together with his wife, Laura, mentoring at-risk youth and coaching young entrepreneurs. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, this is so much fun. This is the first time I've done something like live, so I'm really excited about this.
We're going to have some fun, right?
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Exactly. So, John, first of all, tell us, what are the major components of property inspection?
There's 5 major components on any property. There's a roof, there's foundation, there's electrical, there's plumbing, and heat and air conditioning. Those are the 5 major safety or run for the money if it's not adequate on the house,
So those are the things people really need to make sure that they get inspected,
right.
And that's why they hire you, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
The other stuff's cosmetic, just cosmetic things, little things, but those are the major components on a house.
Okay. So tell us, what are the fire, health, and safety and water hazards that exist on a property?
On the smoke detectors are important, carbon monoxide are important, stuff like that. Their heater, if it's malfunctioning, it would be, spewing carbon monoxide. So if it has a cracked firebox or stuff like that.
So this whole carbon monoxide thing with the detectors is kind of a new thing in the industry. I think we started requiring this about 5 years ago.
About 5-6 years ago.
Yeah. So could you tell us, all of us have heard about carbon monoxide, but tell us why they started doing this, where you have to have a detector, and what it causes for people in their homes.
Sure. The reason why they started having it is because there's been deaths equated to gas and unburned fumes in the property. So it picks up what they call as carbon monoxide, which is odorless, tasteless, and it's a killer. So after all these years, they figured, let's make it the law, and it saves lives. So that's the reason that they have it, and had passed a law system-wide to have one in each property. And the way this law written is 1 per floor.
Right.
So in other words, if you have 2 floors, you need 1 per floor.
Right.
So
before we got started recording, you mentioned something about that's the deep dive. Like, you walk into a house and you notice certain things, run as fast as you can. Could you tell us a little bit more about that with regards to the carbon monoxide?
Carbon monoxide. If there's not one in the property, usually the seller's required to put it on. If they're not, they don't want to do it, they make sure they put it in, because it is a requirement by law to have it on the property before you close escrow. And if they don't want to do it, then somebody has to do it. And a lot of times the agents will actually put it up. So that's one very, very important thing, because it does save lives.
Okay, great. What would you consider a minor or a major repair when you're doing your inspections?
A major repair would be an outdated electrical panel. If it's way outdated, it would need to be a new panel, which includes wiring. There's some old wiring out there, so if they're not grounded outlets and stuff like that. So it's kind of a major expense to rewire a house and put a panel on. So that's something that the buyer should be aware of, that they're going to buy a property and they need to budget in that kind of money.
How would they know?
Well, basically they would call a home inspector like myself to come out. We inspect all the major components of the property. We write up a report. We get our reports out within 48 hours or sooner. And then based on that report, since we're a licensed contracting firm, if we're asked, we'll put a cost analysis on that report. That way, they know what it costs.
Okay. Okay.
And they can do one of two things with that. They can ask for them to repair it, or they can get a credit towards their escrow.
Got it. How would a layman, like if I were walking into a home, how would I know if that's something to like keep my eyes on and think about?
Well, if you go to the panel and you see that it's old and it hasn't, it's original, kind of an original part of the house, it's a red flag.
Okay.
Your inspector would catch that.
Okay.
And then he would follow. There's some recalled panels out there. He would know if there's recalled or not. And then he would let you know, okay, listen, this is way outdated. Should have been replaced 15, 20 years ago.
Got it.
Or it's new, and we'll let him know either way. So
Okay.
that would be peace of mind for him.
Perfect. When is the average lifespan of a conventional, or what is for water heaters and tankless water heaters? Talk a little bit about that, because I know that's a big issue, actually.
Yes, the conventional water heaters on a property are usually 40 or 50 gallon. Their normal lifespan is between 8 to 12 years, depending on how hard the water is in the area,
Okay.
and depending on if they flush it out once a year. That's on conventional tank water heaters. It's important to keep track of that. If the water heater is located upstairs in the hallway, if they don't catch it in time, then you have a big water damage issue when they go.
Okay.
So we let them know by the rating plate how old the water heater is. And if it's at the end of this lifespan, they would let them know. We've ran into water heaters that are 18, 20 years old in the middle of a house. So we let them know, and then it's a big urgency to get that replaced.
And again, as a new buyer, is there any way for me to detect that walking into a house? Or
You would have to know what you're looking at. That's why it's very important to hire a property home inspector, because they know what they're looking at.
Got it.
And then they'll say and write on the report the age of the water heater, if it's new, the risk factor is if it's low, medium, or high for leakage.
Got it.
And then they'll put it on the report. That way you'll know.
Something like that, is the seller responsible for that, or how does
The
that
seller
work?
is, it's all negotiated. It's a real estate question. So if the buyer says, I would like the water heater replaced to help close the deal, and it's up to the seller to do that. Or the seller could say, I'll give you credit for that, and then you can do it yourself.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, great. So we're going to talk a little bit more about deep dives in the extra portion of the show.
Okay.
But before that, why don't you let my audience know how they can reach you?
Sure, they can reach me by going to our website. It's www.andreasfaultpro.com. It's ANDREASFAULT pro.com.
And what kind of stuff do you cover in the newsletter? So what would they be getting for that?
Newsletters, there's a lot of safety stuff.
Okay.
I'm known for the property inspector that saves lives. So it would be a lot to do with safety on their property. A lot of homeowners are first-time home buyers, and they don't know anything about a house.
Got it.
So they can get educated along the way from the newsletter, and every once a month we'll have some new information on there, and they can look at it, and it'd be very beneficial.
That's so valuable, because I know as a homeowner, right, many homeowners, I'm spending so much time just maintaining, I can't keep up with what's going on, and we don't know where to look. So if you're sharing that information, that is really, really valuable. And I love that you said that you're the home inspector that saves lives. That's cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
So are you ready for our 3 rapid fire questions?
Sure.
Okay. The first one is, give us one super tip on getting started in real estate investing. From your perspective.
From my perspective, one super tip is to actually team up with somebody, a contractor, property inspector, or somebody that you can team up with and look at properties together. It would be a good tip, because it's like having that education on the house that they wouldn't normally have as an investor. So that would be a very good tip to team up and include somebody or hire somebody, or just team up with somebody who has some experience on properties, and that way they can guide them and say, hey, this is a good deal, or how much money you're going to spend on repairs, because we know it's all about the bottom line, right?
That's right. That's right.
So,
and that way, then when you start walking into houses, you've already got that education.
That's correct.
So you can kind of start eyeballing things and noticing things that you wouldn't normally notice.
That's correct.
Yeah. And then give us one strategy on being successful in real estate investing.
One strategy that I see is getting up early in the morning and making the best of your day 3 or 4 hours before people get up. do your homework, and don't let the everyday phone calls bother you. Where you can get so much done before your start time. Where everybody starts usually 7 or 8 o'clock. I get up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
So I get stuff done where people are sleeping.
Got it.
So when investing, they can be tied to doing your homework on the multiple listings, or just going out there buying, first come, first serve on properties, right?
Right.
Whoever finds a deal first, can put the offer in first. So I think the early bird catches the worm.
That's cool. I love that. So it's so funny because I don't even get out of bed till 8. But I do that on the back end. Like I often am working from 12 to 2.
Okay.
So I still get my 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep, but I'm working in those quiet hours in the evening.
That works too.
So yeah.
That works too.
But just sort of finding some time where you're not going to be disturbed.
Exactly.
That you could just really focus.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay. And then what is one daily practice that you would say contributes to your personal success?
Keep on getting up after you get hit. When you fall, get up. Just keep on going after your dream, and don't let any negative talk take you down or any negative situation. I always say, out of every negative situation, if you can find one good thing in that, that's the golden nugget.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So.
Cool. So we're going to talk more on Extra, more about safety tips that John has to offer us. He has some stories for us, and I love that he calls himself the home inspector that saves lives. So we're going to talk more about that in Extra. But for now, we're going to sign off. Thank you so much for joining us for this portion of the show. And if you are subscribed to Extra, please stay tuned. If you're not, but would like to be, just go to realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com and you can get signed up there. If you're leaving us now, thank you so much for joining John and I for this portion of the show. I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, remember, goals without action are just dreams. So get out there, take action, and create the life your heart deeply desires. I'll see you next time.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to find out more about how to become a blissful millionaire, go to blissfulinvestor.com. See you next time.